Hi, I'm Evan.
I'm Teddy, and we are the Picture and the Poet.
And this is the good, the bad, and the ugly of renting a van in Australia. Let's go.
Before we get on with the good, bad, and the ugly, I'll give you a quick little tour of our little home. This is our eating area, our little living room / our bed. As you can see, we have this large white burrito, and that is our mattress topper. We'll get into more of that later. This is where we keep our suitcases. And then this is our outdoor table, but we never use it because it's huge and cumbersome. Excuse me, pardon me, excuse me. And now we're in the kitchen, wow. This is our nice large counter space. We actually have a lot of counter space in the van here, which is really nice. This is one of our cabinets, our biggest one. We keep some of our toiletries here, pantry items, and some pots and pans. This is our microwave. We've only used it a number of times. Partially because we need to be plugged in at all times to use it. And as you can see, we use it to store water bottles. And we have our cutlery drawer, cleaning supplies, toilet paper, salt and pepper. And last but not least is our other storage compartment. This is where we keep my gear suitcase, a gear backpack, some of the books that we have acquired, as well as some journals.
So now that you got a quick little tour about the van that we've been staying in, we're gonna go over the good, the bad, and the ugly of renting a van in Australia. Starting with the good, the van itself. After 6 weeks of driving it from Brisbane to Melbourne, it hasn't broken down, hasn't had any problems. When we were in Brisbane, it was really hot, so I was very thankful for good, functioning air conditioning. Another good, getting used to driving on the other side of the road has not been terribly difficult for me. Word of warning, when you do rent the van, make sure you know if you're getting an automatic or a standard.
You know what I didn't know?
What?
Is that I got a standard.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Do you know how to drive standard?
The next thing that's good about the van is that the fridge keeps everything very cold, and it's actually quite spacious. It's a little dirty right now, but, oh, and there's an empty can. I don't really want to show the inside of my dirty fridge. Even though our sink is little, we have running water, a very loud pump, but it works. It's not hot, but it's easy to heat it up over here on our stove. Also, there's no wastewater tank to empty. It just flows right out into the ground.
I found the van to be actually quite spacious. This here has been also a lot of windows and natural light, and most of them do open up. Another good thing about the van is the window coverings. They work really well at night to keep the outside light coming in so that we are able to sleep in darkness, which is important.
So there's a lot of different van rental companies here in Australia, but the disadvantage is so many of them have their logos all over the van. So it's pretty much screaming someone is sleeping in here and they're traveling around, they're not from here. Luckily, ours is almost completely unmarked. Also, our van is really great because we're completely self-contained. It's super easy to pack up and leave very quickly.
The last thing that is really good about this van rental is the 24/7 support that we've gotten from our van rental company. They've been really responsive and helpful at any time.
Good afternoon, car rental. Scott speaking. Can I help you?
Hi, I just wanted to let you guys know that you've done a really good job with taking care of us while we've been traveling. That's all I wanted to say.
Mate, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Quite often people are just ringing for a discount or something like that, but it's nice to get a positive, so thank you so much.
I hope you have a good day.
Anytime. No
Okay.
problem. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Sorry, I got awkward and left. I was
Yeah.
like, wow, that's so
That worked, see? 24/7 service. It's been fantastic.
Even though there's a lot of good about our van, of course there's a few things we'd like to change. One of the biggest one is that the bed is actually very uncomfortable. This is the thickness of the mattress that they expect us to be happy with, and it's just not that comfortable. So we went to Big W or Walmart and bought this mattress topper. It was about $100, but the math came out to be about $2 a day, and we thought that was worth it to be comfortable. So right now we have it done up like a big burrito with these bungee cords, but when we make the bed, we unroll it and tuck it in, and it helps the bed be way more comfortable. So another thing about the van that isn't exactly our favorite is that our sink is very small, which makes it really hard to do the dishes. This is our only pan, and it doesn't fit in. It only goes in sideways, which is a little bit frustrating. So we've been doing most of our dishes at campsites in the camp kitchens with big sinks. So another bad thing is that the van only came with glass and ceramic dishes. And as you can see, accidents happen. It's not the greatest for camping or for the fact that our kitchen is always moving. Another bad thing is there isn't really a lot of space to store suitcases. This is actually where a bunk bed is supposed to go, but luckily for us, we are only 2 people, and so we're using this space to store our suitcase. Our suitcase is really nice. It splits into 2, so we are able to put one this direction and one that direction, and it works out pretty well. There's this tiny little entryway, and it's a huge storage area, but it's super difficult to use because the space itself to get in is so tiny we can't store anything in there.
Another bad thing about the van is the stovetop does not work very well. It took us a while to learn how it works, but push they didn't get the propane going and start it, it would light up, but then as soon as we let go, it would turn off. Very frustrating. Thankfully, we solved it by getting a bottle opener that we would turn it on and then jimmy rig it in there, and now it stays on. So it's a bit of a quirk. Another bad thing about the van is we can't access the cabin from the back. So if we're in bed and we forgot a USB cable up in the front, we have to like open the door, get out, get in, get our feet dirty. It's just really difficult to do that sometimes. The last bad thing about the van that's worth mentioning is it doesn't come with a fan. We solved that by getting a really big 12-volt fan that I jimmy rigged to hook up to the house battery. Without this, some nights would have been just impossible to survive.
So most of the bad things are manageable or fixable, but the one ugly thing is that we don't have access to power at all times. Here we have some outlets and we can use them when we're plugged in at a campsite, but those campsites range from $38 to $60. And in fact, we're at a campsite right now that costs about $60, but there is no power. So Evan's computer is dead, mine's almost dead. And so we can't do any work, edit any photos, do any videos if we don't have power in our van.
For some people, renting a van in Australia, having power accessible is not the biggest thing, but for us running our business while we're traveling, it's a big ugly. So one of the bads that I made sure that we fixed on the second day of having the van was getting us at least some power to charge little stuff using 12-volt power. I found the house battery underneath the seat here, and even though they didn't really give us an opportunity to plug into it, I jimmy rigged that up using some 12-volt clamps like this that plug into a socket like this. Then I got a 12-volt socket extension. So now I could plug in little inverter to charge some of our electronics from home, and I could also plug in the fan. And to make sure that I didn't pinch the cables, I used a small little stack of coins like this, so that when we close the lid, it didn't pinch the cables.
So that's been the good, bad, and the ugly of renting our van in Australia.
Like all adventures, it really is about solving the problems that you come across. And I felt like we were able to, other than not being able to charge our laptops, we were able to manage finding a solution for all of our problems. And that's what this adventure was all about. So, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Evan.
I'm Teddy.
Oh yeah, that actually.
Oh, I said that?
Yeah, you focus. Yeah. Okay. Hi, I'm Evan.
I'm Teddy. Oh, you still want me to?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is the good, the bad, and the ugly about renting a van in Australia. You touch your face again.
It was itchy.
Jimmy rig it in there. Jimmy rig that up.